Amber Glavasser, the chairperson for the Wyndham Republicans, who are the sponsors of this event. Tonight, we'll hear from Cianchette and Peter Violette, who are looking to defeat the current senator and represent us in Augusta. Please join me in welcoming Mike Quattrano with the Maine Civic Action, who will be our moderator for this debate.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, Justice, the whole the Republicans for asking me to be fun. Thank you, Joe, for showing up. I'm going to have everyone stand up to the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing is the moment of silence for our fallen warriors, firefighters, over the past few days. Excellent. Thank you all very much. Let's continue to get started. I'd like to introduce our candidates again for a second time. Candidates in the Republican Party are Senate District 26, Mr. Cianchette, and Peter Violette. Thanks for coming tonight, folks. All right, the rules are we're going to ask a question. You've already determined my coin toss who goes first. You'll have 90 seconds to answer. Your opponent will have 90 seconds to answer. Then it'll kind of be up to me if there's a 30-second rebuttal. We'll have to get that by here as we go. And after that, if we have 3 people who want to ask questions from the crowd, they will ask. And then I have one question myself that I have prepared. Any questions? You guys ready to go rock and roll?
We're ready. We're good.
Microphone work.
I think so. No. Yes. No. Is it? You? Oh, there we go. We're good now. Here we go.
Okay. Also living in housing in Maine.
Are we doing opening statements or no?
Oh, yes. Sorry, that's my bad. Yes. And for determination, it's to by statements.
All right, thank you, Mike. First of all, thank all of you for coming. We really appreciate your participation in this important process. We hope that this will be informative for all of you, but I want to start first by acknowledging my wife of 47 years, my #1 supporter, who's with me through thick and thin, and it's especially supporting me in this venture. So thank you, Alice. So each of us is attempting to share with you why we believe we are the best candidate for this position, a job that is very important and that we absolutely cannot fail at. We need to defeat Tim Nangle. 100%, we completely agree on that. But so each of us, again, we want you to know everything you need to know about us. I've shared my past with quite a few people, 40 years in business, numerous different businesses, both ends of the state, created some from scratch, grew one into a multi-million-dollar company, not knowing anybody at all when I first started, by figuring it out. And that's what I've always done all my life. Also been a licensed clinical social worker along the way. The reason I believe that's really important in this race is because Kenny's primary topic or theme has been that he's going to right the wrong of what's going on in Augusta to be sure that we improve the foster care system. We 100% agree on that. But I would pose a question to all of you is this. I've heard nothing but glowing remarks of Bill Diamond all the time that I've been running. I'd never met him, but obviously he was an extraordinary individual. And my question is this, as wonderful a person as he was, as well liked, as respected, and the sheer fact that he was a Democrat, why was he not able to carry this across the finish line? But yet Kenny is insistent that he will be able to. I'm not quite sure how that equates. So I ask for you all to think about that. Is he really the person?
Okay. Yep. Good evening. Thank you to the committee for putting this on. Thank you, Mike, for agreeing to do this to moderate it. You're doing a great job so far. So, Peter, thanks for joining us and agreeing to do the debate as well. I'm Kenny Cianchette. I have been a lifelong Cumberland County resident. I've been coming to Sebago Lake and Wyndham for the last 30 years. I built shop here 8 years ago when I built a restaurant called Eric's Church, which has been far more successful than I could have ever imagined. Over that time, we've won Best Bar in the Lakes region 8 times. We're the reigning best country bar in the state of Maine. We're the 2023 Sebago Lake Region Chamber of Commerce Business of the Year. But those accolades are great. My team is amazing. But what I'm really proud of is what we've done in this community, which we've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars, whether through my checkbook or many of my very generous friends and family that have done it. We've done it for Walk a Mile in Their Shoes. We've done it for Barbara Bush Children's Hospital, Maine State Society for Protection of Animals, Riding to the Top, Camp Sunshine, the list goes on and on and on. I'm running because I am the most qualified candidate. I have the support of Common Sense for Maine, which is the biggest mover and shaker in PACs that we've seen in decades in this state. I have the full-blown endorsement from the National Rifle Association, which I'm extremely proud of. I have the support of Joe Bruno and Gary Plummer and Tom Tyler and Ray Richardson. And I know you might not like the Bill Diamond component to it, but I'm very proud that Bill was a friend of mine and I was helping him raise money well before I ever considered for politics. And because of that, I got the full-blown endorsement of his wife, Jane, who's not here tonight, and his daughter, Karen, who is my campaign treasurer, which I am extremely grateful for. To answer Peter's question real quick, the problem why Bill couldn't get it done is because we have cowards in Augusta. That's why he couldn't get it done. And what we need is not a social worker in Augusta. What we need is a fighter in Augusta. And I can assure you this, I will do whatever the hell I got to do. The reason I wear this plaque is because of those children that are dead as a result of DHHS. And it is my #1 priority. It is my #1 priority. Thank you.
Thank you both very much. We'll walk right into it. Education reform. Conservative voices have highlighted failures in K-12 education, including Title IX protections. A recent school board standing in Augusta refused budgets so boys are barred from girls' spaces in sports. How would you ensure District 26 public schools prioritize academic excellence, parental rights, and biological reality in bathrooms, locker rooms, and athletics? As previously agreed upon, Mr. Violette will answer first.
Well, first of all, we follow the federal mandates. That's the #1 thing that we do. We don't pick and choose the laws that we're going to support here in our state. We follow those mandates. Secondly, we need greater participation on the local level, because that's where it really needs to change. We have to stop thinking it's somebody else's issue, somebody else's purpose. We have to absolutely kind of rally the troops from the ground level. We need to do it right here. It starts here in our district to be sure that we are loud and clear about and insist our school board members that our school board members are accountable to us. Once they're elected, their job's not done. Their job is just beginning to meet our needs and to be sure that we're focusing on what our children need, not on what somebody else thinks is right or wrong. We've lost our way, that we're focusing more on these social issues, which we don't all agree on. So in order for us to come back to the reality that we need to focus on, it starts at the local level, and it starts with all of us holding our school board members, once we've elected them, accountable, just like we should at any other level in our governments.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thinking back on the question here. Boys and girls sports, boys and girls bathrooms, not permissible. Title IX was installed to protect women, not to protect boys who think they're women. Our state has chosen to go against the federal government, chosen to go against this policy. This needs to be taken care of at the state level is what's got to happen. The MPA, unelected bureaucrats that are put up by superintendents across the state, that's who makes up the MPA. That's why we have these problems, is because of the MPA. Listen, I'm a football coach, right? I understand what the MPA is. 90% of the time, no problem with them when they're figuring out tournaments and all that stuff. This is a problem. This is something that everybody wants. This is an 80-20 issue. This is a no-brainer. Janet Mills decided to go against Donald Trump deliberately so she could try to position herself for U.S. Senate, and she lost to a communist. So what we've got to focus on here is going ahead, forcing it through Augusta. Honor Title IX the way that it is. As far as education is concerned, I'm the byproduct of several different types of education. I went to public schools up through K through 8. I went to a Catholic private Jesuit high school, Chevrolet, which luckily Wyndham's kicking their butt now, so nobody holds that against me. And then I went to the University of Maine. 3 different experiences. What we need to do is give more choice to our children, more choice to our parents, whether they want to be homeschooled, whether they want to send their kids to a Catholic school or some other private type school. We've got to branch out. This can't just be taken care of at the school board level. because the Democrats have a chokehold on it. We've got to think of alternate ways to get this done.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I'll give you 30 seconds if you want to reply to anything he said there, sir.
No, I totally agree with what Kenny has shared. He's absolutely right. We need to, again, I repeat what I say, we need to follow the federal guidelines and not make up our own rules because we don't agree with them. It just doesn't work that way, and we can see what's happening. And I had a daughter who played sports. I would have lost my mind if I'd had to deal with what you folks are dealing with now, or the young parents. What happened? All of a sudden, we were protecting women, and now we're not anymore?
Thank you, gentlemen. This one's for you, Mr. Cianchette.
Love it.
Government efficiency. Maine Republicans have repeatedly called out all of the budgets, DHH issues, and the need to cut spending rather than raise taxes. What concrete steps would you take to address that to root out fraud, reduce administrative load, and deliver a leaner state government that actually serves District 26 taxpayers?
Yeah, government efficiency, that's an oxymoron if I ever heard of it. Our problem with our government is the bloat. What they keep doing is figuring out more ways to try to tax us to pay for these are elective programs that they put into place, right? So one of the new offices that we need to get rid of is the Office of New Mainers. That is useless. It's called the Immigration Office. We have it federally. We shouldn't be paying twice for the same dang thing. Community college. Listen, I'm all about educating our kids, but why we're paying for Massachusetts kids to come up here and take advantage of our free community college, not even graduate, and then taking off, and the Mainers are stuck with the tax bill. We have grandmothers in this state that are getting tax liens on their property right now because they can't afford to pay them, and we're paying Massachusetts kids to come up here and educate them and get them out of here. How does that make any sense? We have tons of, all you have to do is follow the main wire. All you got to do is see John go out to that trailer in Wyndham and say, let's shut this down. We've got to shut down all the fraud. What we've got to do is a reset on the whole thing. We've got to get all of these entities accredited if they're credible. If you're a credible person, this shouldn't be a problem for you. As a matter of fact, it should be a good thing for you, because when we get rid of the fraud, there will be some more resources available so that way you can perform those services. Our problem with our government, it is bloated. And so instead of figuring out how to deal with the bloat, what do? We figure out new taxes. It's reprehensible what's happening. We've got to fix that problem. It's bad. I know my time's up. So
Thank you very much. Mr. Violette.
Well, it starts with auditing every single department that is out there right now. We know that our state is being so mismanaged, it doesn't make sense. It makes me think of the Biden administration, where you had incompetence running amok. And we have the same thing happening, I believe, at our state level right now. So it's not a matter of we don't have enough money. We don't know what kind of money we have to work with because nobody knows where the money's going. We can name so many different programs that are have gone wild, literally, with the immigration problem being one of them. So we need to figure out what do we have to work with. Then we'll know what can we accomplish. And we all very much want better things for all of our Mainers, especially our most vulnerable Mainers. Right now, they're the ones who people are stealing from with this fraud and corruption that nobody seems to, I won't say nobody cares about, only the Republicans care about for some reason. I think the Democrats are afraid to admit that they don't know what they're doing. And so instead of getting out of the way, they're just continuing to do what they've been doing right along. Who's paying for it? Who's suffering for it? Our most vulnerable individuals. So that's what we need to start with, an audit of all the departments. And we need to get rid of all the dead weight. Whoever can't pull their weight, whoever doesn't belong there, needs to move on. And we need to put somebody who knows what they are doing. I'm elated with our gubernatorial candidates. We have so much potential within these individuals that we know if we can get one of them into that office, things are going to change for the better for all of us. And at the end of the day, that's what we all want. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Would you like to step into?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I agree with Peter. We've got government bloat. We've got a political class that has been worrying about enriching themselves. Did you know that legislators don't have to pay health bills? They have free health insurance. How does that make sense? How are we supposed to get our health insurance costs down if the legislators that are making the laws don't actually have to be subject to the laws that they make? We give welfare to clean election candidates like Peter. We're giving taxpayer dollars for candidates to run their own campaigns. That's ridiculous. I'm traditionally financing my campaign. Peter's been successful in business. I just don't understand how you take taxpayer dollars to run your campaign, Peter.
Thank you. Question to Mr. Violette. Energy costs. Reports from the Maine Policy Institute detail the staggering costs of the green energy mandates on electricity rates and heating bills. What changes would you support to Maine's energy portfolio to lower costs for District 26 ratepayers without sacrificing reliability?
The first thing I would suggest is we get rid of the subsidies that are happening right now. There's no reason for that whatsoever. If a business can't support itself, it should not exist, as far as I'm concerned. So we know that we've gone down a wrong path there. And the pursuit of this green energy is happening at our expense. It seems they don't care who they run over, who gets affected, who gets hurt by pursuing their green energy policies. As far as this hooking on to the solar energy, for instance, it just doesn't work here in the Northeast. One of the most reliable forms of renewable energy is actually hydro energy. We don't hear anybody expanding on that or wanting to expand that. What they're doing is stifling the growth of that. And then we've been hearing about these small modular reactors. We know that's the way of the future. That is one of I read that you can replace 3 million panels with one of these little modular units. The challenge with that is that we have not prepared for the future whatsoever by pursuing this green energy initiative, which is unrealistic. I read a Baylor University study that literally analyzed Maine's energy policies and said they were unattainable up until the year 2050. So it's a pipe dream to think that's going to satisfy us. We need an array of energy sources.
Yeah, I'm an economics major. I got like a B, so I did pretty good. Supply and demand, that's what it comes down to. Yes, Peter's right. We do need to have more supply. We need clean, sustainable supply that's affordable. Peter's right. Solar is not necessarily affordable. I think there's applications for solar, no problem, for your personal home if you want to do that. But it should never come at the ratepayers, and it should never come at the taxpayers to have that happen. What we need to do is, my friend Matt Jacobson actually made a white paper of about 11 different points of why our bad policies are jacking up our residential electricity rates. Here's what we do. It's very simple. Take that white paper and every dumb thing that we're doing, let's do the smart thing on it. Let's take those 11 initiatives. If we can take the House, the Senate, and the Blaine House, and we get a good governor in there, we can do this. We can fix this virtually overnight. And the Democrats are going to hate it because we're going to make life better for Mainers and we're going to win more elections. But it's not about winning elections. It's about making life better in this state, whether you are a manufacturer, whether you're some sort of small business owner, whether you're a senior that's retired, whether you're a young family. There is no reason for us to have the electricity rates that we're at. We're doing it because we have dumb people in Augusta. I hate to break that news to you guys, but we have very dumb people in Augusta that want to give back to all the solar and all the wind and all that stuff. We've got to get back to basics. We've got to produce here. We've got to make it cheaper. We can do all of those things by simply taking that white paper and putting in all of these much better policies than what we've got right now.
Thank you very much. Next question is Cianchette. Cost of living and housing. The Policy Institute also did a report on housing prices in Maine, and research highlights Maine's self-imposed housing prices caused by overregulation, with housing affordability and the cost of living ranking its top 4 concerns. How would you work to reduce regulatory barriers to new housing construction while protecting property rights for District 26 residents who own homes around the lakes and in suburban areas?
You got to talk to the governor. We had a great governor a few years ago, Paul LePage. He talked to those agencies and he streamlined the hell out of those things. You don't need legislative action. What you need is action. And if we get a good gubernatorial governor, and we've got 3 good candidates in here, and there's a few more outside of here, if we get one of those guys into office, we can change this. However, housing, it's not just about building, right? Because we've built a lot of houses, but we've got people fleeing this state. Real Mainers have fled this state. So these are all basically second homes and stuff that are coming up, or the new Mainers that are arriving. This is a problem. This is dropping the housing value. If you own a home right now, you bought it for $250,000 and it's worth $500 right now, you haven't realized that value right now. Dropping that down to $400,000 is not going to be a good thing for you. What we need to do is increase our wages in the state. The way we do that is getting the government out of our way and allowing private industry to attract young talent or any of the age talent basically, and have them compete. Get the wages up, not by legislative action, but by legislative pullback on regulations that we have in this state. This state is being crushed by energy policy, by tax policy. We have the best people in the entire country right here, and we are just being oppressed by a heavy-handed government And so what we've got to do is dial it back. With a strong governor, they can take a lot of actions. With the legislature on their side, we can get every action done.
Thank you, Mr. Levin.
I spoke to a developer recently and I asked him that exact question. What's the cause of our housing shortage and unaffordability? And he shared with me it's an over-regulation. Augusta keeps coming out with regulations, and a lot of them are driven by this clean energy deal, this green energy fixation that they have, not realizing that just pushing regulation after regulation down the throat of the developers, they are causing prices to skyrocket. That, as well as giving our housing stock to the new Mainers, as they call them, people that have never contributed to our state. I'm not anti-immigration, I'm anti-illegal immigration. What he suggested, which makes so much sense, is when you come up with a regulation, you roll it out slowly to see what the outcome will be before you start rolling out other regulations and restrictions. And he also said they were never asked for their input from the government agencies on how they can improve the situation or meet the needs of our housing shortages, address those needs. So we need to invite people who actually are living the lives, that are living the work, doing the work that these regulations are impacting. So we've got things backwards. They think they've got it figured out in Augusta and they hand it down to people who actually know what they're doing. We need to reverse that. We need to be listening to the people who know what they're doing if we want to reach the goals and outcomes that we all agree that we need to reach and attain. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do I go again? No? Oh.
Sure, you could second.
Oh, I didn't think that was a rebuttal, right? Yeah, there you go. We can't go slow. Like, with all due respect to that gentleman, maybe he's got a good idea. Maybe we slowly roll it out, beta test, see how it is. We need action. We need concrete action. We need to look at what's being done around the country and mimic what they have. We need to give delegated review authority to the local jurisdictions. Our problem is we have the MDOT and the MDEP holding everything up, and they're putting wind farms and solar farms ahead of this issue and many other issues. We've got to delegate our review authority in this state.
Thank you very much. Mr. Levin, this question is directed towards you. Taxes state spending in the budget. Maine's Democratic-controlled legislature just passed the governor's fund, a $500 million supplemental budget, $500 million supplemental budget. That includes a new millionaire tax, which critics say will translate businesses to harm while failing to address waste and fraud. As a state senator from District 26, what specific spending cuts and reforms would you fight for to lower property taxes, the overall tax burden on families and small businesses in Casco, Raymond, and Westbrook?
First of all, I want to acknowledge the work that Senator Sue Bernard did when she made the argument against this millionaire tax. She presented a very compelling argument on how this had failed in other states, but that fell on deaf ears. They couldn't care less. They're more intent on chasing the people who are contributing the most to our economy or who have the potential to impact our economy in the most positive way. They're busy chasing them out of the state. I'm sorry, I lost track of the second part of your question.
What specific cuts would you make to the budget and reforms would you fight for to lower property taxes, the overall tax burden for your future district?
The cuts that I would make, again, it starts with auditing the programs. So, what kind of money do we need? Right now, we have a spend mentality. So, of course, there's never enough money because it's them wanting to give everything to everybody all the time. We cannot exist that way. It's impossible. The Democrats have developed a business of taxation as opposed to encouraging new business to come into the state, business that will contribute to our tax base. That's how we impact the exorbitant taxes and start lowering them, is cut the spending that's going on, do more with less, and seek out the businesses that can help us. Governor LePage had it right. He didn't sit behind his desk. He went out and tried to find businesses that could benefit our state. He was spot on. We need to do that all over again. We need to find who is a good match for what we have to offer and invite them to come here.
You're prompt. You're staying prompt. I like that. That's good. Driving the millionaires out is not going to, you can't tax your way to prosperity. You cannot do it. It's not humanly possible. Not only are we not getting the 2% from the millionaires that are taken off, we also lose the other 8% that they're paying in the state right now too. So this is idiotic policy by the Democrats once again in the election year to try to drive out votes. I don't understand what their rationale is. Stupid, stupid, stupid. We need to fix all of our tax policies. We've got a lot of bad tax policies. In order to do that, we do need to make spending cuts. First, As you said, I can't strike anything from the expenses in this state, unfortunately, single-handedly. All I can do is influence to the best of my ability, and I can have the ear of a governor, and I can rally the caucus. And so here are the things that I would like to do. It's probably not all doable. One is eliminate the Clean Election Act, so that way politicians don't have the ability to take taxpayer dollars to run their campaigns. Another one, stop housing illegal immigrants in the state of Maine. Like I said before, we get rid of the Office of New Mainers. Continue to just hunt down the fraud that John Featherson single-handedly is doing better than the entire state of Maine government for some reason. I mean, there are so many cuts that we've got to make. I don't have my eyes on the budget because I am a private citizen owning a restaurant on the other side of town, which is a pretty good restaurant, I would say. But once we get up there, we got to drill down on all of these things, and we've got a bunch of CEOs and managers that understand how to do it. I will be their biggest tiger in the Senate to get this stuff done and hold any Weasley Republicans accountable for it.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Fowler, let me finish sentence for last week.
You know, we have very differing approaches. Kenny's approach appears to be that he's going to go there with a club and fix everything. My approach is that I'm going to go there and get an understanding of what's not working and how do I address it. That's something I've done all of my life. And all of you who have met with me personally know that when I speak with you, I'm listening to learn, to understand. So I would use that approach to figure out what can be done and who do we have to work with and who can assist us in our quest to make things so much better for all of us.
Thank you very much. This one is Mr. Cianchette. Election integrity by choice voting. The Maine Supreme Court recently ruled RCV expansion is unconstitutional, a major victory celebrated by many Republicans. Do you support keeping traditional voting systems for statewide races? And also, more importantly, what additional election security measures would you back to restore trust so people can restore trust in the election process?
All right, the first question is, do I want to keep the Maine Constitution the way it is? Yes, I do want to keep that. Yes, I like the way that we have it, plurality vote. That's the right way to do it. The RCV thing was a concoction by the Democrats because they were sore losers when Paul LePage kicked their butt. That's what happened. So yes, I'm all for keeping things just the way they are. Yes, it's a sham that it's happening in our primary this way. I would encourage all Republican voters. You might not like the rules of the game, but you got to play the game by the rules. Otherwise, we're going to have the wrong candidate up there. So I have faith in everybody in this room and across the state that they will select us the best possible man for the job for the gubernatorial field for us. As far as election integrity is concerned, I love Save America Act. That's what I love. That's what, and it should just be a Save Maine Act is what it should be. That's simple. All we got to do is basically copy what they've done down there, and we can do that here. Maine voters wanted voter ID. Unfortunately, the petitioners that crafted it tried to go for the grand slam rather than the home run, and that's why that got defeated because of some malarkey that our favorite Secretary of State Shanna Bellows did. But what I support is the Save America Act 100%, and we should make that in Maine. If we get control, we need to implement as much as we can possibly implement out of that act in this state. There should be no reason that this should be a fight. Why is it a fight to say that only citizens should vote? It's not that hard. I don't understand. You can go on an airplane, you can buy cigarettes, you can buy alcohol at Eric's church, but yeah, you don't need it to vote. That doesn't make any sense to me. That is our most sacred privilege in this country.
On that, we fully agree. We should get rid of ranked choice voting as fast as we possibly can. That is nothing but confusing, doesn't serve anybody. And in every other type of election, the popular vote wins. So but why do we have to be creative, right? That doesn't make any sense. And I totally agree on the federal level. For here in the state of Maine also, we should absolutely insist on voter ID. It's ridiculous that does not exist now. So I completely agree with everything Kenny has said. Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I'll respond to the pit bull comment or whatever it was called. We need a fighter in Augusta, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, for 8 years, they've been running this right down our throat, and we've not been able to stop it. Unfortunately, our leadership in Augusta hasn't been able to stop it either. We can't lead from the minority. The Democrats have played every game that they can in this last legislative session. We need to stop them. We need a fighter. We need a fighter. I know Peter's a nice guy, and I know he's going to go up there and kumbaya everybody. Bill Diamond was the king of being a statesman. He's far better than either of us, and he couldn't get it done because it's a new type of politics, and we need a fighter to do it.
No, I,
Sure.
but I couldn't disagree more with Kenny on that point. That's exactly why we're in the pickle that we're in, as far as nobody getting along with anybody else. It's because we feel that I think he has his football coach mentality, and he's going to bring that to Augusta. That is not going to serve anybody in any way, shape, or form. What happens if we don't have the majority? Do you think he's going to get anything done? Kumbaya? No. Step on my toes enough, and you'll find out that you stepped on my toes. Trust me. I just choose to not go down that path. It's a choice.
You gave him an extra rebuttal. I give him an extra rebuttal. That's how it goes. Okay. I mean, Peter, we have to be honest here. We have boys and girls sports because the Democrats have run it down our throat. They broke legislative session early so that way they could jam their budget down our throat. They're jamming everything down our throat. If we're not going to fight, then we might as well just sit back and take it. That's why I'm fired up, and everybody in this damn room should be fired up just alongside me. I love this state, and they are destroying it.
All right. I'm not sure what you're misunderstanding. I love this state as much as you do, probably more, because I've been here longer in this state. To say that I'm not a fighter, no, we just have different ways of looking at the world and approaching the world. I like to find cooperation where it exists. Where it doesn't, I don't waste my time. I move on and I make decisions.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the crowd wants to see you. All right, this question is to both the officers. We got to find out your names. So we just then we go into the true fight, right? Flipping Senate District 26 into Republican hands. So I ask you in detail, what is your plan to unseat Senator Tim Angle? In detail, how are we going to get more Republicans to come out and vote? They typically don't enough for elections. I'd like to hear your plan on how you're going to win this seat should you win this primary.
Who's up first? Yeah.
So that
All right, great question. Thank you. So my plan is that Kenny has been very proud of the support that he has. He's able to say, and some of you are here in the audience. Everything I've done to date has been with a skeleton crew, very dedicated people that I'm grateful for their support. But we've done that with a very skeleton crew. I've not spent my time campaigning behind a microphone or on Facebook. I've spent my time campaigning right at your door, on your doorstep, asking you, how can I serve you? What is it that you would want from me if I made my way to Augusta? So what I say to you, my strategy is to continue with that, to go to the people, not wait for them to come to me where it's nice and safe. I don't work that way. I go right to the person and I find out what I need to know. Now, imagine if I were to win, I'm sure, because we all want the same thing, that all of those who are very faithfully supporting Kenny right now would be supporting me because we are all on the same page. Imagine how much that would be a dream team at that point, because you would have my tenacity, my courage, and my work ethic, which cannot be matched on this stage. So imagine the outcome that we would have. That's the best chance that we have, contrary to what you have been hearing, to win in the fall.
To me. I got a pretty good work ethic too. I think I've demonstrated that. I'm not going to have to prove that to you, Peter, unfortunately. I'll be honest, I lost the last election. And the reason I lost the last election is I put faith in people that I shouldn't have had faith in. I had faith in Augusta, the same people that recruited Peter. Those people last time, every Monday, would just call me and say, how many doors have you knocked? How many people have you called for money? That was their solution. That was their strategy. That wasn't a strategy. That was babysitting, okay? I have an actual game plan to win this time. Because you know what I told Augusta? Thanks, but no thanks. We'll see you in the majority. What I care about are the people in this room. The people in this room are going to get the next senator to be a Republican in this district. What I recognize is you and I went down the other day there, Peter. We went to Westbrook. Westbrook hasn't mobilized their committee in years. There were 30 people there. They're ready. They're chomping at the bit because they're just as ticked off as the rest of us are in here. So what I'm going to do is get Westbrook. I'm going to get Wyndham, which is an amazing committee. I mean, all the gubernatorial candidates will admit it. Raymond has been great. Casco's mobilizing town. We're going to put them all into my restaurant. We're going to get the gubernatorial candidate. We've got a lot of good ones, and I've already been strategizing with some of these guys. We're going to get them in the restaurant. We're going to get Susan Collins in the restaurant. We're going to defeat the communist Plattner, Nirav Shah, and Tim Nangle together. That's how we're going to do it. We're going to get the Republicans to come out to vote that don't vote except for in the presidential primary elections, and we're going to swing the people in the middle. The way we're going to do that is I have been a credible person in this district. I have the Diamond family because they trust me and they know I will fight relentlessly.
Well, we've all heard the famous expression, actions speak louder than words. I don't make excuses if I fail at something. What I do is I double down. I work that much harder. I figure it out. I strategize and I move forward. So again, you have a very, very different view as far as how things can work and how they do work. So again, I ask you, judge not on what I say, judge on what I do.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Now we're going to pause, and I will we're going to draw the tickets for the bucket. 3 questions from the crowd. Are you listening?
Looks like Ben and Jerry's.
So I'm going to let you guys each draw a ticket, so you'll be choosing who gets to ask a question. Okay?
Should I get my tickets out now to see if I can?
No, wait for the 50-50. Ask yourself a question. And like, I'll have you.
Ingrid, you're going to have to read this for me. I don't have my glasses. Sorry.
Alrighty, this is, it ends in 865. 865 are the last 3 digits. 865. Ready? 864. 8, the last 3 digits are 865.
Oh, Mark's got it.
Okay.
Representative Mark Cooper.
Thank you. I planned on asking a question. Realize it's for connect. Having served in the legislative house this past year, past 32nd legislature, certainly everybody's aware how frustrating things can be. And my question is, how are you going to work if you get elected and you're in the minority, unfortunately?
That goes to me? Okay. First off, thank you, Mark, for serving. I know you're in the minority up there. I'm sure you're pounding your head against the wall a few times, and no Rolf is beside you, so I'm sure both of you guys probably have a concussion. Yeah, I dread the thought of us being in a minority, first and foremost. But in the minority, we can still have impact. Unfortunately, we won't have as much impact as if we had the majority, but it also depends on where everything else shakes out. If we just have the replication of exactly what we just had for your legislative term here, where it's Democrat, 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 we're going to be in trouble. There's no doubt about it. I will do whatever I can do, and I know there are some decent Democrats that we can work with on certain issues, but unfortunately, you look at what the Democrats did with the control. They broke session rather than vote on the bill, Bill Diamond's bill, to help save children. They played politics, they played games. That's ridiculous, okay? If we're in that situation, I'm sorry. I'm going to be honest with you. We're going to be in trouble. We need a Republican governor. Like I said, we've got 3 great candidates here tonight. We need a Republican Senate. I'm not thinking about losing. I'm thinking about winning. In the minority, I'll do the best I can, Mark. I promise you that much, and I will always vote honorably. I will vote my conscience every single time. But the fact of the matter is, if we don't win, and if we don't at least take 2/3 of this thing, we're in trouble. We need it so that the Democrats have to play with us, that we don't have to play with them, because they're not going to play with us if that's the case. So I'm focused on winning. I'm focused on getting the gubernatorial candidate across the finish line. I'm focused on taking back this state and putting it back to the traditional Maine values that we have. That's what I'm focused on. I'm not worried about the minority.
Thank you. That question is exactly why you should consider me to be your senator, your next senator, because whether we win or we lose, I have the capacity to be an effective representative of what our needs are here. The last thing in the world you need is somebody that's going in there to stir up the party even worse than what it is now. So if I'm elected and we are in the majority, then we can make some impactful, meaningful changes, especially in the foster care system, from someone who has actually worked within that system. Someone's the only one that can claim that, spent thousands of hours in the mental health field, worked with case managers who are burnt out, someone who has an understanding of how to truly accomplish everything that Bill Diamond envisioned. Secondly, if we are in the minority, who do you think will have a better chance of helping the Democrats to understand what it is that we don't agree on and how can we come to a consensus? So my kumbaya personality will absolutely be worth its weight in gold if we are in the minority.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
I get a rebuttal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Stop shorting my rebuttals. Peter, with all due respect, the Republicans have no control of anything in this state right now. We can't be worse than what we have right now. The Democrats keep shoving it right down our throat. We need somebody up there that's going to fight. And even if we're in the minority, you need somebody that's going to knock down a podium over Bill Diamond's fight. That's what we need. I know you say that I'm a put bill and I'm not going to be able to build bridges. Peter, they spent $300,000 attacking my character last time. If you don't think that the Democrats have it out for us,
What does that have to do with us? That they attacked you?
Peter,
I don't understand.
please let me finish. Please let me finish.
I'm sorry.
Peter, if you don't understand that you're getting into politics and that the Democrats are ruthless, look at what they've done. They are so ruthless, and you think that they're just going to all of a sudden, oh, you know what, Peter Violette, he's a nice guy. Let's just do what he says. That's not going to happen. If they keep control, we are doomed.
Thank you.
I apologize, Kenny. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Again, it's not about being gentle and kumbaya, as you said. It's about knowing how to work with people, how to gain their trust. When I was doing the mental health therapy with people, I worked with a young girl who had been gate raped. And the reason why I was assigned to her is because my supervisors knew that I could gain her trust so that she could try to walk that incredibly unfortunate path with somebody who cared about her.
Thanks for doing it. Next time. Next question.
Oh, it's me. Well, I got a microphone. Yeah, I know it, I can read good. It's a red ticket. 351-4924. 924. 924. You got a bingo anywhere? 924. It's us. All right, come on up, us.
Right, gentlemen, I didn't feel like you gave us specifics on education. So that is a massive failure in our state. I was on this board in this district for 2 terms, so I want specifics of how you're going to attack the educational problem.
This way, look, I mean, this one.
We need to focus on our children's test scores. And right now we're funding 55% of the school budgets. I feel that that should be done on a sliding fee scale based on the performance of the schools. That way it would put pressure at the local level, as I said earlier, for the citizens themselves to hold the school board accountable when they are not meeting the needs of the children. That's the #1 thing to do. We need to improve our teacher pay, reduce the administrative pay, the administrative burdens. We don't need that many chiefs. What we need are more Indians, people who are in the front lines actually doing the work that is required so that our children can be prepared to enter into the world. So that's where we kind of have lost sight of that. And I'd like to see a standardized profit and loss statement that the state would come up with, that all the school districts would utilize, so that the citizens could understand the budgets when they're presented to them in detail. They can see where the money is going to be sure they are happy with where the money is being spent. Again, to answer your question, that's how we get to a better educational system. We need to have greater accountability, and it's always tied to funding all of the time. That's the only way that we're going to improve that. Massachusetts greatly improved their test scores by paying their teachers what they were worth, because they deserve so much more than what they are getting right now.
Yep. Educators are what we need, not administrators. That's what it comes down to. And what we need to do is get continuing education going more for our educators. Our best ones deserve more. Our bad ones deserve to be gone is what has to happen. But we've got way too many administrators in the state. A voucher type program would be a key component for us. The private schools or the charter schools, if they get some funding from the state and you can move your child to that program or that school, they perform a lot better. The private world has always performed better than the public world, but we can't just let the public world fall apart. This is a balancing act because I'm conservative, right? So what I don't want to do is have the heavy hand of the state government come in and tell the school boards what they do, but simultaneously, we also have to put certain guardrails in place. We passed this legislation back earlier this millennia of making sure that we were funding the schools from the state level to a certain percentage. The purpose was so that way we could drop property taxes. We give a lot of funding to our schools right now, and we're getting no results. We need to be results oriented. We need to be looking at our teachers, and we should be paying people based off of their merit, not off of their tenure necessarily. I want teachers to make $1 billion, and I want every single student in this state to go to get A's all across the board. But they shouldn't be getting it in DEI stuff. They should be getting it in math. They should be getting it in reading. They should be getting it in science, and they should, above all, be getting it in history, I believe, because that's what we've lost in this country. That's why people are tuned to the Communist Manifesto, is because we're not teaching history problem. That's the key thing.
Going to the next raffle winner. This is the third question from the audience. 4928. Last four digits. 4928. Do we have a winner? If not, I have a prepared question. I'll do 4928. Yes, go ahead. We're just making the call. 4857. 4857.
Oh, here we go. Now we're in trouble.
We moved to Women because property taxes were low, because boarded house and there's very good schools. So my question now is regarding property taxes, and especially ridiculous property taxes on people who are not working because they're retired, they're on Social Security, they have a fixed income. So when you're mentioning let's get the wages in the state of Maine increased, aren't going to do it for Social Security folks. And I don't think that anyone who has paid for their home, living in their home, paid $32,000 for their home 50 years ago, and now it's much more than that worth. Why should that person have to pay on something that they're not going to get anything back on until they sell it? Right? Why would they do that? You don't have
Unrealized gain. That's called unrealized gain.
you don't pay taxes on your investments, right?
Correct.
But you pay taxes on your house. And you're worried about people having a place to live. Well, senior citizens get booted out of their house because they can't pay property tax. My neck veins are very This is such an issue. People shouldn't have to choose between their relatives and paying for property taxes. It doesn't get The question is, how can we, that's my question. How can we fix the property tax issue, either just for senior citizens, for people that are younger than that pay their property taxes? How can we stop the spending so that property taxes aren't necessarily going up?
All right, that's me. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Jenny, and thank you for being on the school board. You're a hero. We have a spending problem in this state. There's no doubt about it. You're 100% right. Our property taxes are out of control, and the Democrats are proposing unconstitutional ways to fix that, or they want the government to own a piece of your home, which I'm not really cool with. I know that there are some gubernatorial candidates here, particularly David Jones, talking about homestead exemption. I am 100% on that. We got to jack that up. What happened was in 2020, COVID happened. I don't know if you guys remember that or not, But COVID happened, and all of these out-of-staters came up and soaked up all of our residential inventory in this state, which jacked up the prices, which forced all these things. We have I think it's $25,000 for the homestead exemption. That's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket. When your home's worth $300,000, you're paying a lot of taxes. So 1/12 of what you pay in taxes, what you get back, that doesn't make any sense to me. We need to jack that up. I wish I could do this all. I wish I could be the emperor for like a week or something like that in the state and just fix everything really quickly. But unfortunately, I can't do that. So what I believe is what we need for a tax policy is I would like to see us get to a point where we get a zero income tax. What I'd like to see is homestead exemption up to 500,000. I'd be fine for a little bit of a sales tax increase if we got those two things. I won't do the sales first. I'll do those two things first. That way, whether you are retired or you're a person that's looking to relocate and put your family in this state, then you get that tax break. The burden's going to be borne by some of the rest of the tax base in the town, and it's going to be borne by some of the sales tax that we get. But we're going to get so much economic activity. When you cut taxes, you increase tax revenue when done properly. That's how we do it, Jenny, is we jack up the homestead exemption so you're not really paying taxes anymore.
We start that one of the main things we do, first of all, I agree with the homestead exemption. We jack that way up beyond what it is right now to $300,000 or $400,000. We absolutely need to give immediate relief to those on fixed incomes. We cannot wait for that. The other thing we do is we look to grow our economy by attracting businesses here. We need to understand what do we have to offer and who are we a good match for. And as I said earlier, we need to go out and seek these. We need to help our legacy industries to grow, to support them, so that we start to increase our revenue base. It's not just on the backs of the people, like what we've been seeing for the last 8 years. That is completely wrong. We've all heard stories of how that is hurting our citizens, most especially the people on fixed incomes. That is wrong every day of the week. Because the mentality that's there now that we're behooving to is not a business-related mentality. We need to send people to Augusta who understand simple business, that if you want to lower your expenses, you need to increase your income. You cannot do it on the backs of the citizens like what we've been doing. They have literally been cannibalizing our state at all of our expense here. We need to, again, grow economically. We do that by understanding what do we have to work with. And we go out and we seek the good matches for our industries, our economies, and our way of life.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree, Peter. What we got to do is set our tax policy in the state so that way people want to come here, they want to work here, they want to invest their businesses in here, that there's economic prosperity. We've lost that. Other states in this country, I had 2 bartenders go down to Florida. They're making a lot more money and they can buy an affordable home. And guess what? They don't pay taxes on any of their income. They are crushing it. We are being crushed by our government here. There is no opportunity for economic prosperity. There is no opportunity to have your retirement. Right now, the way it's set up is if you're in retirement, when you pass, your stuff's going to pretty much go to the government because you're going to be owing that much in taxes rather than your children. That's reprehensible. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. This has been great. We're going to transition to closing remarks.
Don't you have a question?
No, I already did already. Yeah.
There you go.
So 2 minutes as agreed upon, Peter?
I think I was first, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you, Peter. It's been fun. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter's a nice guy. I like him. I think he should be serving in elected office, probably start at the school board or town hall, city hall level. That'd be really good for this community. We have to be serious here. We have to win the Senate. That's what this is about. Now, you have 2 candidates up here, and I am clear and head and shoulders above the right candidate to win it. If you look at the map, there are 17 blue seats dedicated basically and 14 Republican. We have to run the table to get the majority in the Senate. However, there is one exception to that. One of those 17 blue seats is this seat, and only one of us makes that seat eligible. I have the team, I have the funding, I have the political experience, knowing exactly what the Democrats are going to do to attack us. I have the confidence of the people up ballot. I have everything that I need to be successful. I have the NRA endorsement, proud grade A from the NRA endorsement. I have common sense for Maine. I have a team ready to go. We're going to win the primary, and then what we're focused on is victory. We need to win. Victory, victory, victory. That's what it's about. That is what this is all about right now, is we have to be victorious. We have to flip the script on the Democrats. We need victory, not just for this community, but we need victory for this state. If we don't win, our state goes away. I am not going to tolerate that. I am going to do whatever I can. I know I might be a little boisterous for you, Peter, but it's because I care. And you know what? I've lived here my whole life. I don't know why you tried to knock on that, but I care and I love this state. If you want to help me mangle Tim Nangle, then what I need you guys to do is vote Kenny Facsetti on June 9th. Thank you.
I definitely can't compete with that. What I can say, my closing arguments are this. I've run on my own merits, my own accomplishments. Again, as I said earlier, if you want to predict the future, take a look at the past. I have not used anybody else's track record, not used anybody else's clout to try to put myself in a better position than what I actually am. I've done it all on my own merits and accomplishments. If you want to know what you're going to get as a senator, I've already shown you that. It's not what I say you're going to get. I have proved to you exactly what you're going to get, and that was my goal for coming here, was so that you can have a clear understanding. There is a difference. One person tells you what they're going to do, the other person has shown you what they have done. So again, if you want to predict the future, take a look at the past. Again, nobody will work harder than I will, and I know some of you say, oh, right, okay, you're going to pull it off by yourself. Not even for a moment. I've been described as being a servant leader. And what that means is I will do the work. I will be in the trenches with the people that I'm asking to do the work. I will not have people doing the work for me. I will be right there alongside them, leading them to this victory that we all know and agree is 100% necessary. So again, you can believe what you're being told, or you can believe what you've seen. It's up to you to make that decision. And at the end of the day, we all want what's best for our district. We're all on the same page as far as that goes. I appreciate this opportunity to be in front of all of you. I respect whatever decision you're going to make. I am offering my best self. It's up to you to decide. Do you want to take advantage of my past experiences, having worked with the people that Kenny's very passionate about in the foster care system, having been the business person in multiple industries that is desperately needed to help Augusta to make sensible, common sense decisions for the rest of us and how to grow the business of our state, something that I've done time and again. Thank you.
Thank you for Sure.
Alrighty, so well done. So I'd like to hear from a couple of our local state reps who are also running for office. Everyone will get 2 minutes, and then we'll hear from the gubernatorial candidates who are here and C1. Alrighty, so let's see.
Are we done? I think we can hang up. Hold this up to me, please. Hold both my.
Well, this has been a great night. You got to hear from these two and hear what their differences are, what their similarities are. But I'm rerunning for the state representative District 86, which is Raymond, Castro, Fry Island, and a little bit of Poland. I want you to remember one number, 86. 86 is the number of votes that if we had gone the right way, the Republicans would have controlled the House. Not necessarily all in one area, but across the state. So my ask to you is get a hold of anybody you know that's out there. Tell them to vote. We need the crossover voters. If we don't win, then what happens is we're stuck with fighting everything out in committee. We'll fight it out in committee. We were able to get a few things done through there, but if it hits the floor and we're in the minority, it's not going because the Democrats have it locked up there. So it's important that we get people out to vote and they vote for the right people. So I appreciate any votes for me, but I appreciate also getting a hold of people and letting them know that they have to vote, because people say my vote doesn't count. It does count. 86. Remember that number. Thank you.
And now we'll hear from a representative in the district, and Secretary Mark Cooper.
Oh, you want to talk to people at home?
All right, thank you. I do want to thank everybody here for showing up, listening to a great debate between two excellent candidates. And it is critical that we take District 26 and turn it Republican, give us some clout and something to work with. They're both needed, both excellent candidates, and we need to fill that seat. On House District 107, I'm honored to have been elected last term, served in 132nd. It was kind of a learning process. I enjoyed it. I still enjoy it, and I'm running again. I've learned a lot how to become more effective. I ran in, submitted 4 bills, and 3 of them were passed through committee, through the House, Senate, and signed into law by the governor. My 4th bill was to increase homestead exemption, and I was, among several others, I was encouraged to combine my bill with Senator Bennett's bill, who had a little more clout than I did, but our bills were nearly identical. Unfortunately, every one of those increases to homestead exemption was defeated by the Democrats, every single one of them. So I've worked on a number of bills. I've also learned to work with some of the representatives from across the aisle when needed. We worked on a bill with Representative Mitchell over in Cumberland. There was a way to get it through this legislature with emergency status. It worked well, and we had bipartisan support on that bill. One of the most discouraging days that we had in the legislature this session was LD 555. Bill Diamond's bill, essentially put in by Senator Timberlake. I gave a floor speech, no prepared speech. It just came out. I knew what I needed to say and put forward. Have some family members who've dealing with child and family services to adopt a child, know what a disaster that whole system is. And thought I did a pretty good job. Several other Republican House members gave excellent floor speeches. And the Democrats came up with an endless stream of prepared speeches. They popped up one at a time in between and just totally shot that down. It was really embarrassing for that. And with that, my time is up here, but I appreciate your support and support going forward. Thank you.
Great, very good.
You want this raffles?
We're going to bring the gubernatorial and CD1 candidates up. So we'll let everybody know about to speak. We have 2 microphones, one here that I'm holding, so everyone in the room can hear. We're also live streaming, so we can do the dual holding here. Mr. Wessels, you want first, sir.
I don't know if I can do 2 things at once here. Again, my name is Robert Wessels, and I'm one of the candidates for governor. And so the reality is I want to keep this short for you, but you heard a repeated theme tonight in the debate. Thank you both gentlemen for what you had to say. The reality is it is critical in the state of Maine that we win the majority in the House and the Senate. I feel like it's been forever that I've been running around the state talking about what I want to do and the plans that I have. The reality is that all of us have really good plans, and we won't be able to get most of them done if we don't have the majority in the House and the Senate. I will say that I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to get the House with a lot of hard work between now and November. Senate, I'll just be honest, it's going to be, I think it's doable, but it's going to be harder. And this seat right here is one of the key ones. We need to win this seat in November. And so I'm going to put it back on you guys. Thank you for showing up. Now we need you guys to show up repeatedly between now and November. If everybody who is here, no matter who wins, if everybody who is here jumps in on that winning campaign on the primary and works our tail off between now and November, we can do it. We can flip this seat. It's absolutely doable. And then we only need 2 more before November. Again, yes, absolutely. Let's get a Republican governor in there, but we need the House and the Senate. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but if we flip the House and the Senate, we get a majority. That means we also get rid of Shanna Bellows. We get our own Secretary of State. And we also get an Attorney General who will actually do something about the fraud in this state. So thank you guys. Appreciate the debate.
Thanks. Next up, we have Mr. Jones, please.
Does that work there? Perfect. Well, I want to thank you all for being here. It's great to see 2 good candidates. I have a long relationship with Kenny for quite some time. But let me say this. I'm running because, like everybody else in this room, I'm sick and tired of people, politicians, giving us lip service, saying one thing and doing another. For 20 years, I've been involved in Maine politics, doing everything I can to try and make this a better place. I've with a few friends, we formed Making Maine Great Again to get President Trump elected in 2016. It was the first presidential super PAC ever formed in the state of Maine. I sued the governor over ranked choice voting, another group effort with a lot of people signed up to make it happen. I'm trying to go after the red flag law. I mean, the idea they're going after our gun rights is absolutely wrong. And COVID, come on, Nirav Shah, I'm sorry. I pray to God that he's the nominee. We'll have fun with that one. But the bottom line is this. You want a guy that is going to go up there and fight. You've all seen my signs, maybe. Seen the Dave Jones sign? Anybody seen the Dave Jones sign around? All right, fight like hell. I was with Charlie Kirk down at Scarborough, and I had dinner with him afterwards. And during the presentation, he said it. Fight like hell. Make Maine great again. And God bless Charlie Kirk. He was a great guy. We lost a great person. Now, I'm a self-made guy. Started banging nails when I was a kid. I was a carpenter. I was a framer. That's what I did. I took it from me and a couple of guys. I built my company up from me to 1,100 people on the payroll. My mom said, get a job in the factory. I said, no way, Jose. I love the state. I want this state to be great. I know we can do it. I believe in the spirit of Mainers. I've been traveling this state. I probably put 40,000 miles on my car, going up and down, side to side. I'm asking you for your vote to please support me as the next gubernatorial candidate to represent the Republican Party. And I promise you, you will not find anybody that'll work any harder and smarter and diligently than David Jones. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Next up, Mr. McCarthy.
Okay, I gotta put this on. All right. For the muddy waters, huh? Yeah, that's good. Live on the muddy waters. Well, can we give it up for Mike and Ingrid and Kenny and Peter? They did a good job tonight. And I think our catchphrase for 2026 needs to be Mangle Tim Nangle. I think that one hit pretty well. So that's good. My name's Owen McCarthy. I'm excited to be here. I'm running for governor, and I'm doing that because I had a great path myself. I grew up in northern Maine in the shadow of Mount Katahdin, and I learned a lot growing up in Patton, Maine. I learned a lot about hard work because I used to watch my dad go to work at 2 a.m. and come home at 6 p.m. every single day. I learned a lot about personal accountability and responsibility, something we have lost in this world, because as soon as you step out of line in Patton, Maine, your mom gets a phone call, and this was prior to Facebook, but the news traveled really fast in Patton and she disciplined you. And I had a good public school education. I hear a lot of angst about education out there today because Maine's education is no longer fourth like when I went through the schools. It's near last in the country. And we need to turn that around. I was then the first in my family to go to college on the pulp and paper scholarship. And I went to college because I remember when I was changing a truck tire with my dad, and he stand over my shoulder because it took twice as long as it should. And he goes, "Son, you're not very good at this. You need to go to college and get a degree." And so I went to the University of Maine on the pulp and paper scholarship to study engineering, learned how to solve problems. I then went and worked in our heritage paper industries in the state, and I think it's something that we need to bet on again. There's still 29,000 people that work in the pulp and paper forest products industry in the state. We need to grow it and not attack it. We need to make sure those dams in central Maine stay alive so Staffy stays in business. I then became an entrepreneur. I started multiple companies. Most recent one in medical devices, helps people improve walking following stroke or living with Parkinson's disease. With that company, we raised $60 million of venture capital into the state, created great paying jobs, took a product through clinical trials, FDA, and a Medicare code, proved you could do innovation here in this state. I'm running for governor because my sons, Oliver and Theodore, they're 5 and 3-year-old, don't have the same opportunity that I had. And it's no longer affordable for working class people in this state. And it's 100% because of policy decisions in Augusta. And we're at 0 seconds on the clock. So vote for Owen in 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, McCarthy. Unless the other gubernatorial candidates snuck in, which I don't believe they have, we'll go to CD1 candidate, Mr. Petrowitz.
Oh, watched it. I'm just gonna hold it. All right, guys. I'm Joshua Petrowitz. I know what you're saying. I'm definitely the youngest guy here. So what's he doing here? And he's probably running for one of the bigger offices too. Yes, I'm running for U.S. Congress, and there is a reason I'm doing that is because as Republicans, we've kind of struck out for 32 years. It's been too long. Since 1994, we haven't won the seat as Republicans. We have to do something different. I know we're not insane, but we have a great opportunity. What is this summer? This is the 250th birthday of America, the summer of independence. We need to make it the summer of independence. Unenrolled voters, we need to go to them. We need to hunt them down, and we need to earn their vote as common sense conservatives. You all know the issues. Biological males in our, for me, it's my niece. I don't have a daughter yet, but I can tell you, in their locker room, bathroom, anything like that, unacceptable. Get on that. Talk about it. People believe in us with that. We need that to be our messaging this summer. The state legislature had the opportunity. They failed us yet again. We as constituents have to go out and activate our neighbors. It's not going to be easy, but it is something that we can do. If we focus on winning by reaching out to the folks that don't normally vote, like these guys have talked about, we've got to get out a turnout on the Republican side like 2024, and then we have to get the unenrolleds to the polls. But in order to do that, they have to be excited. So the fresh face, fresh ideas, if I cut your taxes at the federal level by 2.5%, and I'm saying if you made under $400,000 a year, would that help you as, a household in Maine? Yeah? Okay, cool. Because, I'm not worried about what the billionaires are getting taxed at. I'm worried about what you guys are getting taxed at because I'm one of you. I've been in Maine my whole life. And if we don't focus on each other and on our neighborhoodly issues, New Hampshire's going to look better by the day, but I don't run. I've been born here. I'll be raised here my whole life. I don't have a ton of time. So I just want to tell you that on June 9th, I'm Joshua Petrowitz. I'm asking for your vote for U.S. Congress because we are going to win it all. So I need your vote twice, June 9th and November 3rd. Thank you. God bless you all. God bless America.
Thank you very much. Any other gubernatorials? The CD1. I'm going to pass it on to Ingrid for her closing.
Great. Thanks you guys so much for being here. This is the crowd we were hoping for, and I'm glad you all showed up, and I hope you got a lot out of it. And we still have the room for a little while after this, so feel free to mingle if you want with the candidates. Also, I've been reminded that there is food for sale up here, and a donation I think will allow you to take it home with you. So It's all homemade. We had one lady come and just dropped off food for us that she had made. She couldn't stay. So one thing I wanted to just remind you is that the Wyndham Republican Committee has been exceptionally active in the past few election cycles. Kenny can certainly vouch for that, and others who have worked with us understand that we have been very active. To better support our efforts, we've developed a donation system called the Local Legends. And for as little as $5 per month, donors receive creative playing cards, think Pokemon or baseball cards with a political twist, some swag, and a monthly short video recap of our activities and upcoming events. It's a way to support our efforts and keep current with our activities. Please consider helping us as we engage more people in the political process. And you'll see those flyers for the Local Legends right on your seat. So any donation, $5 a month even, would be greatly appreciated. And lastly, I want to thank all of you for attending and for your participation. Special thanks to Kenny and Peter for putting themselves out there to save our state. We appreciate both of you greatly. Mike. And also a special thanks to Mike Quattrano for his efforts at the Maine Civic Action. And for leading this event, and continued thanks to the members of the Wyndham Republican Town Committee who give up their time and talents to make this and all our events successful. Thank you, and please vote. Okay, so we have the 50-50 raffle. This is my idea, keep you here to the end for the money. So, you know your tickets, Mike, you want to draw this?
Sure.
There's $95 to the winner, whoever that happens to be. Okay, so the last four digits of the ticket are 4855. 4855.
Oh, I can't.
She's going to see So I hope this was as much fun for you guys as it's been for me. This was a great time tonight. And please come back. We'll do something else creative, I'm sure. Take care. Thank you, everybody.